Yo, what is going on, everybody? It is D-Man coming back at it again with another YouTube video, and today the Tennessee Titans just finished, or I shouldn't say just finished, but I just finished watching the entire game, and yeah, first Tennessee Titan game of the year. Should get you a little bit excited. It got me a little bit excited, especially just to see some football for the first time in a long time. So let's go ahead and let's talk about some key, players I saw consistently throughout the game making plays, and I'll highlight a couple of, like I said, players, maybe certain plays throughout the game that I, might recall. But we'll go through some notes here. Jim Wyatt does a great little recap of the game, goes over some key stuff he saw, so we'll go over that, and let's go ahead and get into it. Again, there were some key players that were obviously missing. It's the preseason, so you're not going to see starters, so obviously no Tannehill, no Derrick Henry, those guys like that, no A.J. Brown, no Julio. Defensively, we did see some starters for a very small portion. We saw Kevin Byard out there a couple snaps. We saw Rashaan Evans, Jayon Brown. I think Jack Rabbit got in there a little bit. Christian Fulton, I saw him out there as well. I believe Amani Hooker played too. Saw Breon Borders. But the defense played really good. As you guys know, see from the title, the score, we won 23-3. It was a I was very happy with the way we played defensively. I think Atlanta did not get into the Titans' territory the entire first half. I don't recall them, but A.J. McCarron didn't look too well for the Falcons, through a pick, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But overall, a game, to me, from what I watched last year, the Titans defense just struggled, and this really excites me, seeing how the Titans played defensively in this game. So let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so the offense produced plenty of points, the defense swarmed and made plays, and the special teams unit made a big impact. Special teams, we'll see a lot of, I think we had, 3 field goals in this game. Big return from Chester Rogers, who looks like he might be getting that role at kick returner. We saw all the guys that are competing for that spot. We saw Chester Rogers. We saw Cam Batson, and we also saw Mason Kinsey go out on some punt returns. So that was key there, seeing how they played. And Rogers looked really good. He had a great return tonight as well, which I think we'll get into. I don't know if this mentions it, but let's continue. Many of the Titans starters didn't play. Like I said before, Logan Woodside started the first half. Matt Barkley started the second half, and it was interesting. I don't know who played better than the other. Woodside played really good in the first half. Didn't throw an interception, and was just very, very solid. Same with Matt Barkley. No interceptions. Played very solid. Both had a touchdown. In the first half, Logan Woodside, little fade, back shoulder to Cam Batson, who had made a great play on the ball. It was a great catch, pretty contested too. Kind of reminded me of the catch he kind of made against the Browns. It was kind of same spot in the end zone. The difference was I think it was a little out against the Browns, and this was a little back shoulder, but same spot, same result. A contested catch in both games, and he came down with it. That was a great play to get us up. I believe that was the first touchdown of the game, so that would have put us up 10-0 because I think we had a field goal at that point. And then later in the game, Miller Forstall out of Alabama, who I really like, actually had a touchdown in this one. Matt Barkley, it's a little wheel route. Miller Forstall got some separation, lobbed it. Matt Barkley lobbed it up to him. He came down with it. Pretty easy catch for him, but that was just really good to see Miller Forstall get a catch and a touchdown in this one. He played pretty solid, but I'll mention some names here that I really, really like to see, and we heard their names a lot. We saw Logan Woodside start for us. Tannehill remained in Nashville with Derrick Henry. Obviously, some of the frontliners who didn't make the trip. So in the entire offensive line was all backups, and we'll get to that and how that was kind of an issue in this one, but clearly it was an easy victory for us, 23-3. But the offensive line didn't particularly play fantastic. But there are plenty of positive signs from the Titans who did play. Chester Rogers, as I mentioned, had a great return, a 56-yard punt return late in the first quarter, which I thought he was actually gone. Kerry Blossom game actually kind of gotten in his way towards the end, and I think if he wasn't there, it would have been a touchdown. But he was out there blocking, and it was pretty much a one-on-one with Chester Rogers and the punter. And I think if Blossom game just moves out the way, it's a touchdown. But that was a great return, which was capped off by 3 points. I believe that put us at the 14-yard line. We couldn't convert. We ran the ball like 3 straight times. And again, I understand why it was like 3-yard gains, 0-yard gains, 0-yard. Yeah, I think we ran the ball in like 3rd and 7. But I understand why we're running the ball, seeing how we can, if our blocks are good and stuff like that. But I kind of want to see us, punch stuff into the end zone and not run it on 3rd and 7 at like the 10-yard line. So that's just me, but I understand why we ran the ball there. But that we capped it off with a field goal there by Tucker McCann. Tucker McCann looked really solid. Ficken made his extra point. I can't remember who kicked the second extra point of the game, but I do remember early on McCann made the 26-yarder we just went over. Also, Ficken made the extra point after the touchdown for Cam Batson. Kickers were perfect tonight. Everyone made, whether it be extra point or field goal, and we'll get into a couple other field goals here in a minute. Good old Ola. Ola had the first sack of the game. Rashad Weaver is a guy that I probably will give the MVP of the game to. He was just all over the place. I saw him make a great run-stopping play to end the third quarter. That was a great play. He also had a couple sacks before then, and then he had a sack later on. Maybe it was just one sack early and then later on. Maybe he combined for a sack and then had a sack in the first half, then had a sack to end it. But he had a couple sacks at least, I know for sure. So he played really, really well. Didn't really expect to see much from Rashad Weaver, but he proved me wrong. He played very well. Again, like I said, he had a couple sacks, at least a couple sacks that I can recall, and he played well against the run. And in my opinion, he's on special teams as well. I saw him out there as well. So he all over the field tonight, and he made a good bit of plays. Trevon Coley also combined for a sack in the first half. The Titans shut out the Falcons for the first 30 minutes. Like I said, I don't think they got past the 50-yard line. Wyatt Ray and John Johnson combined for another second half sack for the Titans, and Weaver added another one late. So I think Weaver only had, a couple there. David Long made a great play, interception. Like I said, we'll mention this later, and here it is. David Long had a great interception. Really, really athletic play by David Long. I believe it was like a 3rd and 16, and I think the Falcons are somewhat backed up, and I believe this was actually after a sack. I can't remember who it was from, but it was after a sack. They were backed up in their own territory, and A.J. McCarron just tries to force one in there. Both linebackers were backing up. I believe we had Monty Rice in there, who we saw a little bit. Didn't hear his name much, but he was out there. We had Monty Rice and David Long both in the game on the pick. And basically what happened is they had a back kind of just like, as a safety valve right in the middle of the field. He could have dumped it off to him, and he might have gotten the 16 yards. Again, it was probably a catch of like 5 or 6 yards, and he could have ran for 10 and got the first, but McCarron tried to fit one into the seam, and both linebackers were backing up, and he threw it to David Long's side, and he made an athletic play, jumped up in the air, came down with it. He also almost had another pick. McCarron did, not David Long, but McCarron, and it was actually to Breon Borders, who it was actually overturned. Hit the turf. It looked really, really good from when watching it live after they went over a couple of different angles. Still looked good, and they got to one angle where it clearly showed it hit the turf, bounced back up into his body. So, again, it looked like a great play from Breon Borders, but they overturned that. The biggest play early on offense, Woodside converted, connected with receiver Cam Batson, who we just mentioned earlier. Titans stretched the lead out 13-0 with a 42-yarder by McCann, which capped an 11-play, 35-yard drive by Woodside. Like I said, both quarterbacks were very solid. Woodside played first half, finished the contest 10 of 15 for 84 yards and a touchdown, passer rating of 103.2. Barkley started the second half for the Titans. He also played well. So, like I said, both quarterbacks played well. Another positive development, McCann was perfect 2 for 2 kicking, field goals, plus a 47-yarder that was negated because of roughing the penalty call on the Falcons. So that was very scary. And we'll have to see how he is. I haven't seen any report, but he was actually down holding his kicking leg, which was his right leg. And I don't know who it was for the Falcons, but it was just an absolute dumb play where he's coming off the edge, trying to block the field goal, and he literally takes out Tucker McCann's right leg. And he basically, it's where he's kicking, and he kicks straight into the guy that's trying to block the field goal, and he just kind of falls forward and didn't look good. Didn't look good at all. Didn't look good live. Didn't look good on a replay either. Vrabel was very upset, understandably so. I was upset as well. And in a game where it was pretty much already over, those guys on the edges need to just, I understand they got a job to do, but they got spots where they are supposed to, take off to try and block it, and they have spots where they're supposed to land, and clearly didn't give the kicker enough space there to land, and that was very scary because McCann was playing, he had already had knocked down 2, and he made it 3. He made the field goal while getting roughed, so that was great too. Not him getting roughed, but him still making the field goal. But that's just something you don't want to see in a game that's pretty much already out of hand. A preseason game that doesn't mean anything either. But yeah, Vrabel was very upset about that. But also Ficken made his attempt from 44 yards out. So again, both kickers perfect. You'd love to see that. So we get into the offensive line here. Again, these are all backups. This is understandable why, kind of shakiness, if you will, there offensively on the offensive line, just because we don't have guys out there. Either they're rookies or they're trying to make the spot roster-wise. So understandably so why these guys aren't playing too well. Penalized 3 times for 30 yards in the first half. They had 8 penalties for 64 yards in the entire game. Injuries, very bad injury. I wish I could have mentioned Darrington Evans. I completely forgot about this. Darrington Evans went down early, I think 6 plays in or something, or I think 6 rush plays for me. I can't remember if it was 6 plays in or... Anyway, he had looked like it was his hamstring, but they say knee here. But it looked like he kind of, it was mid-play. He was making his way to the sideline on a rushing play, and he just kind of pulled off towards, almost getting to the sideline. He wasn't not quite there, but he kind of pulled off early. Looked like it was a hamstring, but they say knee here, so we'll have to see if he's good, and I would hate to see his hamstring, that nagging injury that kept him out last year, and it continued this year. I just hate to see it. But, we do have some great backs, but I really love Darrington Evans, and I want to see him on the field this year. I just hate to see that hamstring come back to bite him, but they do say knee here, so hopefully it is a knee and not a hamstring, but it looked like he was grabbing his hamstring when he was jogging off to the sideline, or, kind of towards the end of the run. He looked like he was grabbing his hamstring, just going to say that, but I really hope it's not. Then we got Trevon Coley, who went down with a foot injury. That didn't look good. Brady Breeze went down with an ankle injury. That didn't look good either. And B.J. Bello later on looked like he was grabbing his Achilles, but they say ankle here. And I think Coley actually got carted off. Brady Breeze was helped off. He walked on it a little bit, and then they, I think, brought the card out on the sideline, took him to the locker room. B.J. Bello, I'm not sure what happened with him, but it didn't look good with him either. So those guys obviously hope them the best, especially Brady Breeze, because I really like Brady Breeze. I think he's going to be a great player, and Darrington Evans as well. I really hope Darrington Evans can, get this nagging injury away from him, unless it might not even be his hamstring, but just from watching the game, it looked like it was his hamstring. But let's move on. Falcons finally got on the board, first possession of the second half, 42-yard field goal by Younghoe Koo. which made it 13-3. Titans answered back 10 play, 37-yard scoring drive, engineered by Barkley, capped it off with a 44-yard field goal by Ficken to make it 16-3 with just 17 seconds left in the third quarter. And then the ensuing drive, that was when Rashad Weaver made a great play to stop a run play that I remember. Barkley connected with tight end Miller Forrestall, 12-yard touchdown to make it 23-3 midway through the first quarter. The touchdown capped an 8-play, 55-yard drive. The Titans returned to the practice field on Sunday, and they'll practice Sunday and Monday before traveling to Tampa on Tuesday for joint practices against the Bucs on Wednesday and Thursday. The team's second preseason game is Saturday against the Buccaneers, so that's going to be fun to watch. I'll definitely do another recap, and we'll go ahead and do some more training camp videos as well, or practices. And practices, the practice recap videos we have, we'll do those next week as well. But another guy that really wasn't mentioned, and he should have been mentioned in here, was Mason Kinsey. You heard his name a lot if you watched the game, and he made a great catch in the first half. It was pretty contested. It was like 3rd and long, and Woodside made a great throw right where it needed to be, and Mason Kinsey, double coverage, one guy draped all over him, made a great grab, kind of in the middle of the field there, slid down, secured the catch. It was a great catch. And then later on, he made 2 other, one great catch and then another catch, and then ran for the first. It was a great play. And there was another 3rd and long where he caught it and ran for the first. Mason Kinsey played really, really good. I don't know what it was about him, but he just played really good. I'd probably give the MVP of the offense to Mason Kinsey. Excuse me. And the defensive MVP, I'd have to give it to Rashad Weaver. Just played really, really well for us. Those 2 guys got to brag on a little bit. And the quarterbacks, I'd really, really, really could have given them one of the MVPs to the quarterbacks, but both of them played really, really well. Barkley played well. Woodside played well. Both of them just played very well. No picks. A very clean game from both of them. So, yeah, I mean, really, really just excited to see Titan football back out there, man. But, yeah, with that being said, comment down below anything you'd like to add or anything you saw that I didn't mention. But, yeah, with that being said, that is going to do it for the video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Until next time, I'll see y'all.